Game on. Warner Brother, game on. So if you don't know by the intro or that brand name, because I don't know that company for anything except for... Oh, I thought I was going to show the title. Except for Hitman 2. Yeah, that's right, I'm playing Hitman 2. This is the you dead, you die, game over, you can't stop a game over gamer, that's my thing. So, Hitman 2, make the world your weapon. I played the original Hitman, not the OG, I played Hitman 1 for the Xbox when it came out. I never actually beat it. I got to Bangkok, and then I just didn't get any of the other things. So I didn't play beyond that point. But now that I've bought Hitman 2, it comes with all the levels of Hitman 1, plus all the levels of Hitman 2, so even though I've already gone through them once, I'm gonna go through them again, this time, not dying. I think this is, since it's a game that you can take so slowly and go at your own pace, no, I don't want to buy stuff. Remind me later. You know what, don't ask me later. There's an elusive target coming out soon. I'll probably do that. I did one, because it was like, the day I got the game was the last day I could do it, and it was like some serial killer. So I did it just because I didn't want to lose a chance to do the elusive targets. But beyond that, I haven't touched the game. I did the ICA facilities, because that's, as you can see, challenge completed. As well as Hawks Bay, because those were the two training missions they give you. So I'm going to go through the ICA facilities, starting from the beginning, going through the entire story. I also have all the DLC missions, so we should be able to do all those bonus stuff for the original game as well as a new one. But let's start off with the prologue. This is strictly just the story of the game. I already know all this, I remember it from the original, but in case you want to go through it, you can. I'm going to try and keep these episodes about 15 minutes. As always, I might go to 20 minutes on a couple of them, but no more than that. I can't remember if we put on subtitles. If there's subtitles, I'll be talking over the cutscenes. If not, I'm just going to be staying silent. Yeah, this is where it's like, oh, that's how you walk. Yeah, that's how you run.
Welcome to the agent program.
Okay, so there are subtitles. So if you actually care about what they're saying, you can hear it or read the subtitles. I mean, enough people do it with anime that I'm sure you can do it with this. That's a problem I have with people who do that. People have a problem with me because I have a problem with them because they have a problem with me. So, a lot of people who watch anime, there's two options. You can either watch it subbed, which means that you watch it with subtitles, so they're all speaking Japanese. You don't understand Japanese because you're like an American or Canadian or whatever, so you just read the subtitles. And then there's dubbed, which they get voice actors who do it all in American. Well, I say American, they do it in English, but it's all American voice actors, so they have the American accents. And they change the wording around of it, so people can understand it easier, because there's not a lot of, there's some words that don't have a direct translation, so it is in quote-unquote American. So a lot of people see that. That's how I watch it whenever I watch an anime. Like Death Note, I just finished watching. Attack on Titan, all those I watch them with the dubbed. And people who watch it with subs, I don't understand. I always complain, I'm like, why are you purposely reading along with it when you could just be watching? And they say, well, I want to watch it the way that the creators intended me to be watching it, with the original voice actor, with the original dialogue. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand any of it, and the original dialogue and everything. It's literally just, when they made the show, they intended you to watch the show and understand what they're saying. They didn't intend for you to have a book so that you can be watching it and reading along with it. If they did, they'd make a book and give you a book. Because at least I, and a lot of people I know, are not fast readers, so when they watch it and they have to do subtitles, they're pausing the episode, reading the subtitles, unpausing it, and then going to the next line. Or they don't pause it, try to get to the end, then it goes to the next thing and they're like, oh, I don't know what he said, and then they get lost. Or they're just reading a book at that point and they're not looking at the anime, they're not watching it. They might as well have just read the manga version, which I would highly recommend reading The manga is normally better, but I also have a problem with reading, which I'll get into once this game has actually started. So that's my bit of a quarrel with people who watch anime. And I watch a lot of anime. A lot. I watch the ones that people are like, oh, this is great, and I watch them like, yeah, that was great. But I don't go out of my way. Like, I'm about to start watching My Hero Academia, but that's because people are like, this is the great anime. This is one of the good ones. So I'll watch it. But people are like, oh, this whatever, that I'm the only one that has ever heard of this, and it's about, like, whoever the fuck. I'm not gonna watch that because you're the only person I know who has actually done anything about it, or watched it, or know about it. So I'm not gonna do it. So as I said, I'm gonna start watching My Hero Academia because I'm real into superheroes. I just watched. I'm about to finish watching all the Marvel movies in the cinematic universe again. But right now I'm on Ant-Man and the Wasp, which. Not one of the greatest ones, but it's still just a fun movie. Like, there's no... Watching it, it's not something that I have to study to understand, like Thor 2. Like, Thor 2 is something that I did not enjoy watching, but to understand, like, Endgame and the Soul Stones and everything like that, you have to, like, study it. So that's something I wasn't crazy about when I made it across the Thor movies. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I can save and load. This is the gameplay, by the way. I'm probably going to be just walking through this early bit because I understand how it all works. Confirm, overwrite, save. I have a gun. Actually, what do I have? I have a gun and I have fiber wire. I'm not going to hold the gun out because people will see me. So, now my problem is reading. I'm in school right now. I'm in grade 12 English. And for some reason, we don't study TV shows or movies or anything like that. So anyone who had a dotted instinct. We don't study those, even though I believe that those are now part of our, like, language. They are, people quote movies, they speak English in the movies. Like, why is it so, I don't know, why do teachers think it's such a ridiculous idea, oh, that's who I'm hunting, to introduce, like, the idea of studying movies instead of books, because I agree that movies are great, I understand. Books are great. I love reading, like the Harry Potter stuff and all that. I'm in the middle of reading Harry Potter. I've seen the movies recently, so I know how it ends, but I'm actually reading the books for the first time. I just made it to Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favorite movie. But reading it, there's so much that is lost. Oh, sorry, I forgot to change the chef. There's so much that is lost by not watching it, because when you watch a film, there's the camera angle, so they control exactly what you're seeing, and there's focus, and it's a lot easier to watch. Also, it's a lot shorter because you don't have to spend 3 pages talking about how the character's hair is brown. You see the character's hair is brown. So it's a lot easier to absorb a movie than it is a book. Like a book, you have to stop and read. Or if you have an audiobook, that is another way to do it. Sponsor me, Audible, I love you. Where a movie, you can just have it on, 2 hours later, you're done, you've absorbed it all, and you get all the information. Also, books, you only have your own interpretation on everything. So you can think things are wrong, like in Harry Potter, a lot of people complain about how Hermione isn't spelled Hermione in the book. It's spelled, so it's like everyone pronounced her name wrong until they watched the movie, because then they said the name as Hermione, which is something that is completely fair. But if you're watching a movie and they're like, hi Hermione, it's not like, oh look, there's my favorite character, Hermione. No, there's my favorite character, Hermione, which makes sense. So that's another thing I have where people get, or location they don't understand. Like you'll read something or you'll skip over something that'll be like, oh, it's snowing, and then you'll like go through it and you won't think of it as snow, which makes things kind of confusing later on or something like that. Where in a movie, you see that there's snow, you understand that it's winter, you get that understanding. Then there's also the fact that whenever you watch a movie, the biggest part of movies in my mind is the music.
Sounds
like in Star Wars, if you've ever seen scenes in Star Wars without the music that they add on, afterwards or any of the sound effects, it totally takes away from the movie. It makes it feel like it's missing something. It's not as exciting. You don't know, because the music also tells you when the peak of the story is, when the action is. It sets the mood. Books don't have that liberty. Books have to describe to you in detail everything, which can be interesting, but also times, I find most of the time, in fight scenes in books, I don't care. I skip over them. They're not interesting. Like at the end of Harry Potter, second book, Chamber of Secrets, didn't read any of the parts with the basilisk. I tried reading it, I just couldn't, because it's like, Harry pulls out a sword, Harry swings at the basilisk, he misses, the basilisk bites at him, he misses. It's boring. It's like in, it's like if you ever play Dungeons and Dragons, it's like if you were to play that game, but nothing happens. It's like in combat, if you just keep rolling like 3s and 4s, nothing's happening. So, I'm about to kill this guy. I don't know if I'm supposed to do it now. Okay, he didn't notice. Now he should leave the room. And not even notice that he's dead. He just thinks that he's a burglar and left, which is good. So that's my quarrel with books. So, you can tear me apart in the comments. You can tell me about how I'm wrong, and Harry Potter books are a lot better than movies. And I will say, the books, and I'll continue this in the next episode. If you really want to argue about it, watch the next episode. I'm going to continue this. But my biggest problem with movies that are based on books is that they lack details. Like Harry Potter specifically, Peeves the Poltergeist, who's a main character in the books, not main, but big part of the books, never in the actual movies. Or there's scenes in the books that doesn't happen in the movies. And that sucks, because a lot of times if you then read a book, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see how this happens in the movie. You then don't see it in the movie, and then you feel disappointed, and then you feel like the movie's worse than the books. But as long as you always watch the movie before you watch the book, you'll make it to the book and you'll be like, oh, this is cool, this is so much more. But then the scenes you see, you're like, okay, go on, this is boring, there's so much more detail, yada yada. I might be alone on that. I'm gonna finish this episode with this cutscene ending, so once this ends, that's where I'm gonna stop it.
Perhaps it would be
but Harry Potter, also problem with Harry Potter, which I'll probably not be able to pick up in the immediate next episode, but in a few episodes,
very well.
Snape is probably my least favorite Harry Potter character. And I mean that, like, a lot of people who like Harry Potter, Snape is their favorite character. Snape, least favorite Harry Potter character. I would honestly change a lot about him, or even just take him out of the books, because I hate reading him.
Welcome back.
But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it just as much as I enjoyed playing it and recording it. Until next time, guys, this is going to be Game Over.